I'm Chef Plum, and today I've got my brand new friend, Eileen Duffy, the contributing editor to Edible East End, and of course, author. You wrote an amazing wine book.
Behind the Bottle, The Rise of Wine on Long Island. It came out last year, and it features a number of wineries right here on Long Island.
That means she knows more about wine than I do, thankfully, because I know how to drink wine. That's what I'm good at.
Excellent.
And today, we are hanging out at Mattebella Vineyards in Southold, New York. This place is absolutely stunningly gorgeous. I can't wait to show it to you. So join us as we take Edible East End on the road to Mattebella Vineyards. Presented by Shiregate Family Farms, humane and grass-fed the way nature intended. Check out shiregatefarm.com.
So John was telling us this vineyard was planted in '96, which makes it one of the older vineyards out on Long Island.
Yep. It was planted by a family. They just sold the fruit to winemakers. They didn't make wine themselves. And our current owners are Mark Tobin and Christine Ferrari Tobin. Mark's a partner in a law firm in Miami. He commutes every week to make the wine. We make much of the wine at Lens with Eric, so Eric's kind of twisting the dials and flipping the switches for what Mark wants.
But it's a total collaboration. Eric's one of
the long established winemakers here, and one of Mark's first friends when he started coming to this region. The entire approach to winemaking here is to make beautiful, food-friendly wines. We don't want to overpower people. We want the wines to be subtle and food-worthy. And so that's our value, that's our approach, and that's how we tend the vineyard, and that's how we make the wine.
So John, these vines look incredibly healthy. Will this be a healthy vine?
These vines are healthy, and they're fully mature vines. So they're big, they're strong. Things are going well so far this year. That's great.
These are pretty fat, which is indicative of the age, and then they're also pruned the same way. So this is what's called the fruit zone.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like 10 years ago they didn't clear the fruit zone, but what happens is they now pick the leaves off around the outside, and that creates more air circulation, which prevents the mold and mildew that you don't want.
The amount of thought it takes to go into the wine. I'm guessing too the amount of trial and error that happens, especially being out here, right?
Right.
Yeah. It probably took us 25 years, us being the entire region, to figure out what grew best, how to handle it best, and then you started seeing real improvements in quality.
Long Island wine is made in more of a food-friendly style, not big oaky like California wine. And so what we wanted to do was kind of take you through what would be a good pairing. So one of my favorite things to drink as a cocktail is sparkling wine. And we're going to start with a sparkling wine. There's a Chardonnay. There's a blend of red and super secret special, hasn't been released yet, dessert wine. And then we could taste first, but John, you want to tell us a little bit about this?
This is our 2015 dry sparkling rosé. It's sparkling, it's a rosé, hence the color, and it's bone dry. There's no what we call residual sugar. This is all Merlot.
Wow,
so
it's 100% Merlot.
100% Merlot, and you look at this and it's so pale, like how is it Merlot? We do have some grilled basil shrimp here.
Wow. So we'll take one. That char, that carbon that happens when you barbecue something to get that hard burn on it. Unbelievable with this. It pulls that off your tongue, really sets it off in your nose, right in here. What a pairing. We have a second course of wine here.
Right.
What are we drinking, John?
We are drinking our 2013 Reserve Chardonnay.
Okay.
This is what we call a Burgundian style Chardonnay. It's aged 40% in oak, 60% in steel.
Eileen, he said Burgundian. What would that mean to you when you hear that?
It means it's in the style of white Burgundy,
Okay.
which is the most famous Chardonnay in the world.
Okay. Wow. That's crisp. It's got that vanilla note in the background. It's heavier.
Right.
Which makes sense.
It's more mouth-filling.
Yeah.
The mouthfeel is great.
Yeah. I would put this up against even something like a pasta dish. Something along those lines.
Risotto?
A risotto would be great.
We're going to taste it with beautiful double creme brie from France called Duffy.
I'm in.
With roasted pear.
This is definitely a food wine, a dinner wine, something you're going to sip and have with your dinner because it hangs there, it lingers, it's got a great flavor to it. I'm imagining with this cheese already, I can't wait.
The acid helps cut the fat of the cheese.
That's why people taste wine and cheese together. The acidity in the wine and the fat in the cheese complement each other. So this is our 2008 Old World blend. Now there's another homage to Europe, but the thing to note about this label is the drawing on the middle of the label here.
It's the owner's children, right?
Right, that's right. This is Isabella and Matthew. So in Italian, Matteo e Isabella is Mattebella.
This is nice. Not a lot of tannins going on.
No.
Has a bit of acid kind of happening, so it's going to be nice and sharp to cut through fatty food.
Exactly.
A little bit of fruit happening kind of in the middle of the tongue.
Yep, mid-palate
nice.
fruit.
Plums,
some dried fruit
nectarines.
and some red fruit, some stone fruit.
Now, what are we pairing this with?
Just a classic pairing. This is Gorgonzola Dolce.
Okay.
So it's a blue cheese, but it's not entirely stinky.
Okay.
And this is Chris's homemade balsamic fig jam.
Sounds delicious.
Awesome.
The richness of the blue cheese is going to also pick up the acidity in the wine.
It's funny because the acid that's in this really takes that heavy cheese off your palate. Unbelievable. But you've got something for us to taste right now that hasn't even come out yet.
Probably my favorite wine in the world are Sauternes.
It's a dessert wine that
Right.
comes from the Southold region south of Bordeaux in France, and the way that they make the grapes sweet is they're affected what is called noble rot.
Noble rot.
This wine happens to be called Noble. When we're out in the field ready to harvest, we're looking at each cluster of Chardonnay, and there are some bad rots and there are some noble rots.
Okay.
So leave the noble rot, and if we get enough in any particular year, we make this wine. And
Check it out.
look at the color.
Look at that.
First of all, that's always where you start with wine.
Look at that.
It smells fantastic.
Does it? Let's see.
Check it out.
Cheers to me, guys. Let's do it.
This is like
Here's to
It
your
is.
love for me.
There it is.
My uncle always said.
Here's to your love for me. I'm going to use that. I love that. Let's give
It's
it
a
go.
gift.
Wow. Wow. There's so much going on right now. I don't
So
know where
much
to start.
going on.
I
Go
don't know
ahead.
where to start.
Go start. Go ahead.
Honey. Slight little bit of honey. To me, honeysuckle. It's taking me back to being a child. It's taking me back to being a kid. What's cool about wine is that it has that moment for me. And to me, the whole environment, everything that's around that's happening with the wine, that is what brings it back. And that's where you can taste your flavors from.
And that's what it's all about. That personal connection is what makes wine so meaningful for people.
What do we have in here?
This is an apple strudel from a very popular bakery on the North Fork called Junda's.
So this is funny. This actually works fantastic. The apples mix really well with this. It's very fall. It reminds me so much of like taking a hayride. It does. Of picking pumpkins with my kids. It takes me right back to that when I
And
mix
this is
these two
not too
together.
sweet. It's almost like a salty
No.
pastry that's good.
And the texture is nice with this as well. All this information, like you were just like a wealth. It's like a whole waterfall of information pouring into my head. We can get it from the book.
Yes, in my book, there's a lot of history, a lot of meeting the characters out of making wine on here, and you end up learning a lot about how it started, the different styles, and the evolution of the region.
Mattebella Vineyards, unbelievable. A lot of fun. Guys, make sure you check us out, and we'll catch you on down the road next time on Edible East End on the road. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
There it is. That's fantastic.